You've explained. You've stayed calm. You've given more chances than you ever should have, and they still don't respect you. It's not your fault, but it is your choice how long you'll let it continue. There's something we all learn eventually, something that stings at first, but frees us later. You can't teach people to respect themselves, and you can't teach them to respect you either. You can explain, you can stay calm, you can give chances over and over, but still, some people will cross the line. So what do? You stop waiting for them to learn, and you start doing the one thing that finally brings peace. You draw a line, and when they cross it, you walk away. Because peace isn't found in trying harder. It's found in choosing yourself. And that moment, the one where you finally choose yourself, is the beginning of a new chapter, a quieter chapter, a braver one. This next part might sting, but you need to hear it. Most of us were never taught that. We believed if we loved people enough, they would change. If we were kind enough, patient enough, forgiving enough, they would finally treat us right. But you can't teach someone how to love. You can't teach someone how to value what they take for granted. And you can't make someone respect you by staying quiet when they cross the line. The moment you try to teach respect, you've already accepted disrespect as part of the process. And that's where it starts to hurt. Not just what they do, but what you allow. We try to rationalize their behavior. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe if I just wait it out. But the longer you wait, the more you teach them that your peace is negotiable, and the more they believe it too. And once someone sees you tolerating what hurts, they stop seeing you as someone to protect. They see you as someone who protects them from the consequences of their own actions. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're still there, telling yourself they'll change. But deep down, you know, if they respected you, they wouldn't need reminders. You wouldn't have to beg. You wouldn't have to explain your worth. Respect is something people show when they care, and silence is what they give when they don't. The silence is loud, and your soul hears it. And it's not just silence from their mouth, it's silence in their effort, their absence when it counts, their lack of presence when it hurts. If you're still holding on to someone who crosses your boundaries, stay with me. So why do we stay? Why do we keep offering respect, even when it's not returned? For some of us, it's how we were raised. We were taught to be polite, even when we're hurting, to keep the peace, to not rock the boat. We learned early on to tolerate discomfort, to bite our tongue, to hold back tears. Some of us grew up believing that love meant sacrifice, that if you loved someone, you had to endure their worst to maybe, just maybe, see their best. But that's not love. That's self-neglect. That's self-abandonment. And after enough time, enough disappointment, you realize something. They're not the ones hurting you anymore. You are, by staying, by shrinking, by tolerating what drains you. And in trying to keep them close, you drift further from yourself. You stop recognizing the person in the mirror, the strong one who once had dreams, the soft one who once had boundaries, the real you, buried beneath the version you became just to survive them. Take a deep breath. Think of the last time you said nothing just to keep someone close. Did it make you feel stronger or smaller? How many times have you smiled when you wanted to cry, laughed when you felt broken, agreed just to avoid another argument? That's not peace. That's fear. And fear keeps us frozen in lives we don't even like. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries aren't walls. They're not punishments. They're not cold or selfish. They're protection. They say, "This is how I deserve to be treated, and if you can't do that, I will lovingly let you go." You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to justify yourself endlessly. You don't need to beg someone to treat you like a person. You just need to know your worth and hold that line quietly, consistently, and without guilt. Boundaries don't push people away. They reveal who was never really with you to begin with. They show you who's willing to stay and grow with you, and who was only there for what they could take. And yes, some will leave. But the peace that comes after, it's worth everything, because the cost of keeping people who don't care is always your own joy. Your worth isn't based on how much you endure. Your kindness shouldn't be a reason someone keeps taking advantage. Your silence should never be the price of love. You are allowed to walk away from anyone who doesn't respect your peace, and you are allowed to protect your soul, even if no one else understands. Say it with me. I am allowed to choose peace. I am not responsible for fixing others. I am enough, even if they don't see it. So what do you do when someone keeps crossing the line? When they laugh it off? When they don't apologize? When they don't even notice? You stop trying to teach them. Let life do that. Let their own patterns catch up with them. Let the weight of their actions find them in silence. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain. You don't need to lose sleep over what they don't see. Because what they refuse to learn through love, they will eventually learn through loss. Your healing doesn't depend on their understanding. Your peace doesn't require their permission. It is not your job to be their lesson. But if they lose you, they may finally learn. And when you stop tolerating what hurts, you change. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop overthinking every text, every comment, every shift in energy. You move slower, more intentionally. You create space for real connection and silence for peace to finally speak. You become softer in the places where love exists and stronger in the places where it doesn't. You begin to understand. You weren't too much. You weren't too sensitive. You were just asking the wrong people to meet you in the right way. And now, you've learned to stop asking. You've learned to start being. You've come back to yourself. And the world feels different when you belong to yourself first. Soon, you begin to realize that peace was never in their hands. It was always in yours. It was never about getting them to see your worth. It was about seeing it yourself, clearly enough to stop asking others to confirm it. People who truly love you won't need a manual on how to treat you. They just will, with care, with consistency, with presence, with love that doesn't come with conditions. And the more you align with that, the more your world changes. Suddenly, loneliness feels like peace. Distance feels like safety. And solitude feels like home. You'll stop asking to be chosen, because you'll already have chosen yourself. So no, you can't teach people to respect you, but you can show them the consequence of not doing so. You can show them that silence is no longer acceptance, that distance is now protection, that your love is sacred, not to be played with. Respect isn't taught, it's chosen. And if they won't choose it, you will choose yourself. And that is where everything changes. Because peace begins the moment you stop waiting for them to see you. and start standing where love feels safe. So here's your reminder. You don't need permission to be respected. You don't need to wait for someone to understand your pain. You don't need to explain your boundaries to people who keep stepping over them. You need one thing: the courage to choose yourself over and over again. That is your power. That is your peace. And that is your healing.